Hey guys, welcome back. Just a quick update on what I did last night. Last night I took this PCB and like I said in my last video, I bridged the pads with a little piece of metal. You can see that there. I've also at the bottom here soldered up, tinned up a little a negative pad, and then at the top I've done a positive pad. And the other thing I did last night was I wired up our emitter. So I've got it all set up. I've got a positive 22 gauge wire going to the positive pad. I've got a negative 22 gauge wire going to the negative pad. And I have a purple data line going to the data pad. And if you can see that right in there. I'm using 26 gauge on this. It's the first time I've used 26 gauge. I usually use 28. But because I'm going a little bit thicker on everything, I decided to go 26 here. Now what this will do, this will sit up in the emitter in here in a holder, and then wires will run all the way down to about this section, and then it'll hook up with this pad here on this side. And I'll do that tonight. Get that all set up and show you how we did tomorrow or on my next video on that. The other thing I did was I cut that little piece of plastic like I said I was going to do in that last video, really thin. You can see how thin that is. And what that'll do is that'll sit at the bottom. This PCB will sit right on the top of this. We'll cut a hole right in the middle for the wires to go through. PCB will sit that way. Your wires won't short out on the inside of the hilt. So it'll be a little barrier between your pads and the bottom of the hilt. So we did that. And what we'll do is we'll get this emitter all glued up into this emitter holder here. We'll get that glued up tonight, get that installed. And the last thing that I did was I did the D-ring. So as I showed you in the last video, this D-ring came separate. So what I did was took a lot of that green painter's tape, taped this all up. That way I didn't scratch any of it, thankfully, because it's chrome, and if you scratch it, it's gonna stand out like a sore thumb. I then took some wire, needle nose pliers, put it inside the D-ring, pulled it up, stretched it out like this, and then it stretched it wide enough so that I could put the D-ring inside the little holes here. And then what I did was I took some painter's tape and wrapped all of the D-ring up so it wouldn't get scratched up at all, and then took some vice grips, big vice grips, taped all those up so I wouldn't scratch the D-ring, and then slowly and carefully squished the D-ring so it would fit perfectly in here. And as you can see, it swings perfectly and natural, and there's no scratches or anything on it. It's really nice. Honestly, this is one of the most frustrating parts of the whole build, is doing this, because you're just so scared about scratching something. So I was so happy that I got through it fairly unscathed. There's only just a couple of small spots that I think I can buff out. Can't really even see them. They're right kind of up in there, if you can see them, right up in here. But I think I can buff those out. Won't be a big deal. Besides, you're not going to see them anyway. The D-ring covers it. But that's really the only spots that I really felt like I could have done better. But sometimes when you're doing the D-ring, you're gonna do nicks and cuts and scratches, and there's nothing you can do. And fortunately this time I got really lucky. So as you can see, we'll throw it on the hilt, show you what it looks like with the D-ring on. And there you go, with the D-ring. So we're making pretty good progress. Every day we seem to be doing something new. So tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the emitter in place into this little emitter holder. I'm going to cut a hole in the little plastic so the wires will go down inside. We'll get it installed here in the emitter, run the wires down, we'll pull this part off, and then we'll solder it onto the bottom portions, PCB of it, get that in its holder, glue that to the top part of this, and then once that's done, the upper part from here to here, is completed. After that, we may have to wait a little bit. We're still waiting from parts from Shapeways. All of the plastic parts from Shapeways is done, and I'm just waiting for some metal parts to be completed. I have 3 metal parts on order. One of them's done, so that's really good. I'm just waiting for the other 2, and it shouldn't be much more than a couple more days, and hopefully we'll get them shipped by the end of this week. So with that being said, that'll be enough for today. We'll see you in the next video, and we'll show you some progress the further we go. And hopefully you'll be able to join me through the whole step, the whole journey. And when we're done, hopefully we'll have lights and sound. Until next time, thanks again for joining me, and we'll talk to you again soon.